Welcome to another episode of the Trust Issues Podcast. Today we want to tell you about the entrepreneurial journey.
Who we are.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah, who the hell are you?
I don't know. Who are you? I just met this guy 5 minutes ago. He's like, do you want to get on a podcast with me? I was like,
what's your story?
Oh, maybe. You're kind of cute, but also you're giving me some interesting vibes. Like, I don't know. What?
Huh?
Well,
Keep going.
what kind of vibe you're throwing off today? Every day is different.
We balance each other.
We do. Okay, so who the hell are you?
Yeah. You want me to start with who I am first, or would you like to start with
I don't know. We're just going for it.
Well, let's tell the people where it all began.
Well, where it all began was I was growing my mom's belly. Just kidding. We're not going to go there. No. So we met in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've obviously known each other for a very long time.
Many moons. We've literally been together forever.
We've known each other longer and been together longer than we've been apart.
This is true.
Yeah.
We literally know everything about each other.
I know.
Everything.
This would have been a great moment to bring the picture out from our prom right now.
Oh, wow.
I literally have it right over there. And
why? You need to get it. Where is it?
It's on the computer table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we were so cute.
Yeah.
Like,
I had my braces.
You had braces. I'm pretty sure at prom your suit was
I
like
had big
4
baggy
times
pants.
too
I
big.
Just went with it. I was like, oh, this was cool.
What was that local, like, it was like Men's Warehouse?
I forget. It was a small, like, mom, but everyone went there. It was
They couldn't fit a suit on you if they tried.
Dude.
It was.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad, but we've known each other.
Memories.
We've known each other literally. So we went to college together. It wasn't even on purpose, but we did. And it was so funny because it was in college that I got this idea because I went to school for fashion. You went to school for sport management.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm starting a blog.
Yeah.
Styleactivist.com. I'm starting a blog. We have to dig up some of the photos that you used to take. I lived in this.
Dude, I have your blog business cards still. Those
Bring the cards out. We should start handing them out.
Where you're like literally like posing on the lawn next to the dorms. Like
we were literally
You're like, take these pictures of me. I'm like, for what? Okay.
On a literal, it wasn't even a DSLR. It was like one of those.
Oh yeah.
Just like you had to take it to Walgreens to get the pictures developed.
Yeah.
And then like get it on the SD card to upload it to my computer.
You had to be dedicated.
Yes. And I was.
Yes.
That has never been a question in my life.
It's a good segue into everything.
Yeah.
It's like
dedicated AF.
Yeah.
That's literally like ingrained in my cells.
Yes.
And you're taking these photos for me for styleactivist.com. This was like blogging was coming out. It was like 2009.
Yeah.
So it was just like this new concept. You didn't get it.
No.
I honestly don't know if I even got it, but I was like, but I'm going to do it because this sounds great and cool and a way for me to be creative. And also I just had this foresight of like, I don't think I'm going to want to work for anyone. I don't know what I'm doing in college. They're asking me about resumes. I don't give a shit about resumes. I want to work for myself.
Yeah.
And I saw these bloggers who were making money on the internet sharing their outfits.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get in on
Outfits,
this.
stories, adventures, all of it.
Their travels.
Yep.
They were getting paid to travel. This was the OG blogger era.
Yeah.
These bloggers today, they have no idea how good they have it. We didn't have like to know it. We didn't have Amazon storefront links. We were hustling, messaging and emailing. We would I remember a PR list would leak of these brands and their PR contacts, and I would email the PR team. Hey, I'm Erika. I live in Noville's place, Pennsylvania. Percy, Pennsylvania. Shout out to my hometown. But grew up there like on a farm. Yeah. And there's even like photos of me in the farmland and you like were taking photos of me with my like J. Crew outfits.
Yeah, drive around in my beat up car and go take pictures in front of like fence posts.
Curse each other out a couple times. Get it right. Get the look. Get the shot.
Oh, good times.
You've been there for every bit of it. But that's where it started. And it was kind of like open our mind to like the internet, making a living from the internet. We tried a lot of things. We got a lot of things wrong. I mean, really, I was the one who was kind of this crazy person. Like, I'll make anything a business.
Yeah.
And what did you think about that at the time? I don't know if I've ever asked you this.
Well, it was funny because I remember you always had, through college, you always had that mug. It was for the spare change.
Tell the people about my mug.
What is it?
It says Future Millionaire.
Future Millionaire. That's what it was. I still
have the mug today.
It's in our office.
I got it my freshman year in college at a TJ Maxx, Lynchburg, Virginia. walk up in there and I see this mug and it was like the heavens opened up. I heard the angels and it said Future Millionaire. I was like, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
With my...
It was either Future Millionaire or Live, Laugh, Love. And
yeah.
you went Future Millionaire. I think it paid off.
Live, Laugh, Love can just... I literally just knew at the time. I was like, no, I don't know how, but I'm going to be a millionaire one day.
No, I knew. It
was ballsy.
Through dating and everything, it's like I knew you were going to find something along the way was going to click eventually. And not saying that anything was a failure. I don't really believe in failures being bad. I mean, obviously it was like, if you tried something, it didn't work.
It was a lesson.
Exactly. There was so many lessons.
Stone.
And that's what you're supposed to do at that age. I think that's kind of another thing where like society always tells you not to fail. Don't dick around. Don't mess around. It's like, dude, your 20s, figure it out. Like just have fun.
Up.
Yeah. Like that's
go wild.
Yeah. Don't be so strict. Dude, don't be so strict. I mean, we got criticized for it, but it's like.
A lot of people didn't get it. Well, a lot of people that we were around were going to school, putting their resumes together, applying for jobs, while literally when we wrapped up college, I'll never forget, you helped me pack everything up.
Yeah.
I was living in that sketchy old house.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was haunted.
Yeah,
90% was haunted.
It was scary.
We pack up everything. We're like closing the chapter at school. And I was packing up to go because at the time I was working in PR and consulting. I had started a consulting business with a bunch of my blogger friends that we had all met from the internet. We all kind of clicked. We started this business together. It was called Bloggers Night Out. And we were basically the liaison between the brand and the bloggers because all this was super new.
Yeah.
And so we would host these events at Fashion Week and we would have these like brands could buy out a spot at our event and they could set up a booth, they could set up their product and they could mingle and meet with the bloggers. Yeah. And if they met someone that they felt like was the right vibe for their brand, they could just make the connection and then end up, creating some type of a working relationship.
Yeah.
So I remember we had a bloggers night out event. I think we had one in like DC and then we had one, I think also that was going to be happening in New York because we left school at an odd time. Like it wasn't when everybody else graduated.
Yeah. We went an extra semester.
So and New York Fashion Week happens every February.
Yeah.
And so that was what was coming up. And so I remember packing my whole life into my car. And then I remember being like, okay, well, I'll see you later because I was going to go host these events. And I think you were moving to Florida. We were going to be long distance for a bit.
Well, my family was down there. So I was like, I guess I'll go to Florida and figure it out. I guess that's where I'll, So yeah, it's just like we just went
our separate ways. And we were like, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to host these. I mean, I wasn't making any money. That's the thing. I think that people need to understand is that I had a business, but it wasn't paying me.
No.
But it was more for the connections and the networking, honestly.
Yes. And that's, again, that goes back to like in your 20s, like make those connections. Like that connections and networking at that age and like what you're doing then is way more valuable than, a couple $100 here and there.
Still to this day, I have people that I work with or that will come back into my life and be like, oh yeah, I've been following you since the Style Activist days.
Yeah.
Like since the days where Kyle was taking photos against the brick wall outside of your dorm.
The days of the lemon logo.
My lemon logo. My tagline was dressed to kale.
Yes.
Like what? Dressed to kale, like kale as in the vegetable.
We'll put pictures up.
Yeah, you guys, you need to see this.
Yes,
it's like if you're not embarrassed of your first version, you probably started too late and you didn't put yourself out there.
Yes.
Because I'm like, wow, it's a little cringy, but whatever. So then you kind of went on to figure out what you wanted to do.
Well, I actually came back to Pennsylvania because you went back to PA because your family was there. And we knew we wanted to be together. And I'm like, my life isn't down here in Florida. I want to come back. So we came back to PA. And that's when we really started like, putting our heads together and what do we do? What's next?
What do we want to do?
And I think what the next thing was.
I'll never forget. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
I remember because we're living at my parents' house.
Yeah.
We were roommates. I'm in my room here. You're in your room next door at my parents' house. You're working the job that you worked throughout college.
Yep.
I'm working at my parents' restaurant reading personal development books, listening to, I don't even know, podcasts were a thing then, probably, maybe audiobooks, at least I was listening to.
Yeah.
I remember we had a conversation. We were outside by the fence at my parents' house in the backyard. And I was like, I think I want to sign up for this coaching program.
Oh,
do you remember that?
I do. Yeah.
And it was basically, I had found someone who was living the life that I wanted to live.
Yeah.
And they had created their own online business. And this is before, I think today, if you're starting an online business, you can do it all and learn everything you need for free.
100%.
YouTube University.
Dude.
Listen to the podcast. Let me tell you something. There is a time and a place to invest in a coach or a program or whatever.
For sure.
But I don't think today in 2023 you need to do that.
And it's also not the first step.
It's not.
No. That's yeah.
We learned a lot about that.
We did.
About that. And because I think there's an element of when you're starting and you're new, you're really nervous and you don't know what to do and you don't know where to start. And you just want someone to kind of tell you.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works. It's not how it works. You have to figure it out yourself.
You do. Yeah. No amount of hand holding is going to get you through the obstacles of it.
You got to make the moves and take messy action.
Yes.
But I remember coming to you and be like, I think I want to invest in this coaching program. It's like $10,000.
Yeah.
We were broke as a joke. I didn't have any money. That was like
everything.
It's like everything we could have possibly imagined having. I went on a payment plan for it.
Yeah.
But I will say what it did for me is like it made me have skin in the game.
Totally.
Of like, now I have to make this work.
Yeah.
Because I'm paying money to somebody else to tell me what to do, and I got to do it because I'm not going to not make this money back.
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
So there's an element of like when you're starting your business for the first time, you have to do something that makes you accountable. Because if you have a plan B, you probably are just going to fall back on your plan B.
The minute it gets tough or whatever, you're going to back out.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. Yeah.
But even before that, the things we've done, garage gym.
Oh, dude. Well, okay. So there was the cookie business. That was actually pretty early. Was that before the garage gym? I think it was.
No, I don't even know.
So it was a cookie business.
Honest
goodness cookies. It's like a paleo cookie.
Paleo cookies. Well, see, here's the thing, okay?
And it actually got it got traction. Like it was like we were getting close to like, oh, maybe this is going to be a storefront. Like it got to that point.
We almost got a storefront.
I know.
Thank God we didn't.
I know.
Overhead? You don't need overhead in this day and age.
Yeah.
You don't. But it was like I saw a need in the market. This is when like paleo was becoming a thing.
For sure.
And I
the dietary restrictions and everything.
I saw this gap in the market and I was like, everybody's like talking about this. Like I can make a product and sell it.
Yeah.
But the thing was just like, it was so much manual labor. We were in my parents' kitchen. We were baking cookies. Like they were amazing cookies.
I remember we went to Whole Foods and we went down like the cookie aisle and we were like looking at every package. Like, okay, what do they make? What's this? What's this? How do we, like we actually did our due diligence of like, okay.
Market research.
Yeah, this can be something.
At Whole Foods.
We were like, we don't want to make cookies.
Do I want to make cookies for a living?
No.
Self-reflection moment.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
So then it was that. And then that's when it turned into, we were certified with training and we had started to get some clients here and there. And we started the garage gym together at the farm. It's like, so we had a bunch of people with that. And then
we do these like little group classes.
Yeah.
I think at the moment.
So much fun.
How much were we charging people?
I don't know. Nothing. It was like
nothing, right? Yeah. I don't even remember.
Like $50 a month or something.
$50 a month.
Maybe. Yeah. It was
and I think it was like, maybe I would have like 10 clients maybe.
Yeah.
So do the math.
Yeah.
We weren't making livable wage at all.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think when you're starting something, like you have to understand there's grind in the beginning.
Totally.
And it takes what was that quote that you told me the other day, the Ice Cube? You were listening to Ice Cube. What was he saying?
Oh yeah. Ice Cube was on a podcast and he was just talking about like, he's like, basically if you're getting into a business or starting something, like you got to at least put in 5 years and not expect anything back in that 5 years.
How many people aren't willing?
Yeah. And that's basically like the grand scheme, if like you do a business that, lasts 30, 40, 50 years, it's like the first 5 years, it's like, it goes back to the restaurant mentality.
The restaurant industry is 50% of them fail in their first year.
Yeah. Like,
and I don't even know the statistics as of today. It's probably even worse today, but you don't actually make a return on investment for
the next couple of years.
For years.
Yeah. You're in the red for a long time.
And I think that's what so many people don't realize, is that if you are going to pursue the entrepreneurial path, if you're going to try to create your own business, there's going to be many years of bootstrapping, of working multiple jobs so you can keep a roof over your head.
Yes.
And that's what we had to do.
Yeah.
And there's so many years that you're not making any money.
Yeah.
and you're probably going into debt just to make your dream happen.
Yeah.
To then hopefully one day you'll get out of debt and you actually have a profitable business. I mean, for us, it took years.
Yeah.
Years. Cookie business,
and that's
training business.
I mean, just full transparency, there would absolutely be moments where like, okay, so we graduated college? 2012? It was 2012 until, man, probably like 18, 19, things really started to change. But it was like that stretch where it was like we were watching peers, other people like who we were in college with or just knew, like they were in their careers, they were finding their way.
It was hard not to
There was moments being like,
are we failures?
We should just quit and figure like just go the normal route, you know? Like there was those moments nonstop, and then things started clicking. But it's like, I don't know. I look back at that journey, and as tough as it was, and like as crazy as it was, and even reckless, it's like I wouldn't change a second of it with that, because it's like those times where like, God, we were literally like had to call a landlord and be like, hey, I don't have the money for rent until next week. Like, I'm so sorry. Like those moments where it's like, we've done all that. Like we were feeding our dogs our leftover spaghetti squash meals like that. Cause it's like, we couldn't buy the expensive dog food that we wanted to give them.
Sometimes it was leftovers. That's it wasn't pretty.
No.
But I mean, there's a whole nother chapter too. I think it's like the early chapter of trying different businesses.
Yes.
Then I think the next chapter was, we moved so many times.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element of, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, but for us, I think us moving and getting out of our hometown was kind of this like line in the sand moment of we need to get out there into the world. We want to meet more people. We want to put ourselves out there. We want to network with more people, and we want to see what else is out there.
Yes.
And us leaving a comfortable place.
Yeah.
Because we could have stayed.
Yeah.
We could have stayed living at my parents' home. We could have stayed in our hometown, not far from family, and lived comfortably. You could have gone and gotten a traditional job.
And there were opportunities to do that.
You were offered jobs.
It sucked. It hurt to turn certain things down, because you're like, I know what that would give us at this moment, but like,
it would have given us some peace of mind, probably.
Yeah, it would have kept us in a comfortable in our
space.
comfort zone,
But when we packed up our stuff, I'll never forget, we had a trailer behind our car. We put a tarp over all of our belongings, and we had our 2 dogs in the back seat, and we drove down to Florida.
Yeah.
And we drove down there thinking we might end up living here. It ended up not being the place where we ended up, but we lived there for a year. And that was part of the journey of figuring it out, of trying new things, of literally putting ourselves out there. Then we did it again. We packed up again. It was exactly 1 year to the date later.
Yeah.
It was in 2016 that we moved to
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we were, again, had no plan, but we just had this feeling of like, this is a city where things are happening. People are doing things.
Yeah.
We want to be around that.
Yeah.
And we were so willing to move our entire life to different cities in order to pursue the life that we wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about that, it's a little crazy now that I think about it.
I don't, to be honest, it's like, I don't know if I could do that now. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well,
who you were back then with like, you got nothing in your pockets. You got nothing.
We would do it again.
I know.
No, we would. Don't even say that. You know us. We would.
Yeah.
We would. Sometimes we're on the brink. We're like, should we just do it?
Yeah.
Pack it all up
Screw
and go to Hawaii?
And go somewhere.
Like we've talked about these things. Like, but there's an element of like, how bad do you want the life that you want? Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone so much that you will literally move your life to another state where you know no one?
Yeah.
Where there's not any really prospects.
Yeah.
There's not really much that there's nothing concrete.
Yeah.
That was what we did. We did that twice. And then we actually, really, Charlotte was a breakthrough city for us.
For sure.
We were completely alone. We lived there. We didn't have any family close by. I don't even think any of our family visited us when we lived there, really.
Because it was,
It was just a weird time in our life.
Yeah.
And we just built. We grinded it out. I mean, that's when
built relationships, networking, like all of it. It's like, that was the first time, because like through all the previous years, we were always so together and everything. But when we got to Charlotte, it was the first time where it was like, I broke away to do my own thing, really, and you broke away to do your other thing. And actually, by the end of our tenure,
which was what? I mean, you were working in fitness.
Oh yeah. So I that's when I like my fitness career really took off. It was like I had a dream job. I was working with, so many different clients. I was coaching classes with CrossFit. It was just like, it was so much fun.
You were working with
NFL players, collegiate athletes.
On paper, it was like the dream.
Yeah, it was like elite high school athletes. Like it was so much fun, and it was so satisfying. But it also got to the point where it started to burn my passion. Like my passion was burning out, because it was like the days got so long, and we still weren't getting to where we really wanted to be in that moment. So like I started to burn out. That was the point where like you were working so hard while you were at home, and I'd come home at like 9:00 at night, and there was like probably like I don't know, it felt like a couple years at that point where it was like we didn't even see each other that much, because it was just like I come home and pass out, and you'd still be going till like midnight on your stuff. And
I was grinding.
We just repeated that cycle.
My own, and at the time, what I was doing is I was working with all the history that I had.
Yeah.
I was essentially helping people with their own branding and their own marketing. And so I was helping small business owners with their websites. I was helping small business owners with their social media plans. I was helping them create content. I was helping them strategize for their sales. And so I was working in a one-to-one basis with my clients. It was very satisfying because I was able to meet incredible clients, see their businesses grow. And I was really able to make a significant amount of money. That was really a breakthrough thing for us. But the problem is that my overhead was so insane. And then we just had so much financial debt that I felt like we could never get ahead. It was
two-step, or one step forward, two-step back.
Yeah. And and when you are working in a way that you're only exchanging dollars for hours, there's only a certain amount of hours in a day.
Yeah.
So you can only, there's two ways that you can get out of that, is either charge more or work in a one-to-many basis.
Yeah.
So for example, I was hosting like group coaching programs. So I could work with 20 clients at a time or something like that. And then it's either that or finding some way that you can actually make a residual income, subscription-based, membership-based, something like that. And so I was in this place of finally feeling like I was making traction, at least as a personal brand and as a business owner. But at the same time, the lifestyle didn't match up to it yet.
Yeah.
Like we still didn't have the time together. We didn't have the ability to travel together. You were very much tied down to your job. I was very much tied to my computer and laptop 24/7. So, or I have a client call or whatever. And it very much like at the top of the month, it was like time to hustle because it's time to get new clients every single month. And it was like this cycle that we found ourselves in. And the thing that's cool though, and I want to encourage anyone who's listening, is that when you do finally start to make traction, I think when people start to see things happen, oftentimes they self-sabotage.
It's so true.
They self-sabotage because their expectations and reality do not match.
Yeah.
So imagine me finally making traction in my business, finally seeing that people are wanting to work with me, finally seeing that I'm getting booked up with clients, but self-sabotaging and being like, well, this isn't the ideal situation.
Yeah.
I knew that was temporary.
Yeah.
Like I knew that I was going to find a better way to do it. It was just part of the process.
Yes.
So I think I just like want to encourage anyone who's listening. It's like, you are going to have many seasons. You're going to have many different chapters. Not every single one is going to be ideal.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to grind it out to be able to really get to where I think the lifestyle then is like, oh, this is the entrepreneur lifestyle.
Yeah.
I get to make my own schedule.
Yes.
I get to work for myself. I get to also like take a vacation when I want.
Yeah.
I get to shut it down when I want to. It's also this thing of like when you work for yourself, I think it's hard to shut it off.
Oh, 1,000%.
But I think that's a huge element.
But I'll even say too, this is more speaking for myself with like Charlotte, it was on paper, we were both in a very nice spot. Like it was like I was working my quote unquote dream job and you were, doing a great job with what you were doing. And it's like, we both knew we wanted more, like there was another level to what we were doing. And for me, that was the hardest spot to like actually step away from. Cause it's like, okay, we worked so hard to get to this point and it's like, oh, are we going to like restart again or, do this over again? And it was like to walk away from Charlotte now to come to Nashville. It's like, it was scary for me, but like, I see how necessary it was to move on.
And that brought us to our next chapter.
Yes.
So I started a business. I actually got into direct sales. I had someone who I was an acquaintance from Instagram. Literally, hit me up, tell me I would be really good at this thing that she was doing. I was super skeptical. I was super like, that's not for me. I have a real business.
Yeah.
You know, I was very put off by the idea of the direct sales industry. The thing that I want to say to anyone listening, whether you're in direct sales or you're not, whether you feel some type of way about it or not, the thing that I love about where we're at today in 2023 is that the idea of affiliate marketing is very common.
Dude.
And when I started, it wasn't. It was very taboo. It was different. It was like, what is she doing? Is that a pyramid scheme? There was so much like weird and let me be honest, there's always schemy and scammy things in any industry.
Totally.
I have been in the coaching industry and I have seen the craziest shit in that industry.
Dude.
And I love so many people in that industry, but I've also seen the bad side of it too. It's like there's a good and there's a bad to everything. It's two sides of the same coin often. So I had this whole narrative built in my mind around it. And the truth was, though, like I said about our lifestyle, was I wanted another income stream.
Yep.
I wanted something that was smart business, that was going to give me actual time and financial flexibility.
Yep.
And freedom's always been my number one core value in my life. And it's like why I've always known I wanted to work for myself.
Well, it's because we were literally at a point where it was like we had the dream jobs, I guess. Like we were doing okay, but we had no time for each other.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a life. Like we couldn't travel holidays. We couldn't do things. It was just kind of like, oh, we're getting the monetary, the money side of it now, but it's like we have no freedom and no say in anything now. So like, how do we diversify and to get that, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember when you joined, I came home from work and you're like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this thing. And I'm like, great, go ahead.
At this point,
I'm like,
whatever.
if you have time and space to do it, I support you. Have fun. Like,
you did support me from day one.
Yeah.
And that like changed everything for me because I think there was so many doubts in my mind of like, can I do this? Should I do this? I've worked so hard to build this thing up. And that's another conversation I think we can have for another day. When do you know that it's time to walk away from something, or when do you know that it's time to pivot? And it wasn't that I was walking away. It was, I just knew I needed to pivot.
Yeah.
And I needed to really ask myself, where do I want to be in 5 years from now? Where do I want to be in 10 years from now? And that's a conversation so many people don't ask themselves. They are just so in the moment. And there's times to be in the moment, and being in presence is so important. But also at the same time, I am a very, very futuristic person.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly thinking of the decisions that I make today. Where's that going to put me in 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about my child at 5. I'm like, the things we're doing today, starting a podcast, investing in real estate, you know, the things we're doing today is going to be, what's it going to be like when he's 5? You know,
it's exactly
like I think about those
and
things.
It's also even in Charlotte and obviously Nashville now, it's like we knew like you have to take some things into your own hands. Like even a side hustle or anything like that. It's like I read you the statistic yesterday where this past year like 401ks were down 20%. Like you can't just rely on the system to like take care of you in the long run. Like you have to start getting creative. Like you can't just like sit back and be like, oh, it's going to be all fine. Or this is, you know, it's like you have to make some moves in different areas.
You shared that other thing with me too, where millennials need around $3 million in savings.
To retire.
Investors say that millennials need around $3 million in savings to retire
comfortably.
$3 million.
And I'm like, and then there was this statistic. It said
that's
like
wild.
It said like the higher end, I don't know, millennials have an average of like $50,000 saved, you know?
Yeah.
Which is like, look at that, you're like, dude, that's awesome. You're doing great. You have 50K saved, but it's like,
that's decent.
You have these investors saying like, you need $3 million to retire.
Well, that's the world we live in today.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's like,
that's the economy. I mean, our parents don't get it. They don't know what we know, we deal with today. You know, I think it's a whole different economy. It's in a completely different society.
Well, it's like the generation before us was, you know, someone who was just bagging groceries could have a
support
house,
a family,
and their wife could stay home, or you know what I mean? Like that's how it kind of was back then, and it's not the same anymore.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
So we had to make moves for that.
For sure.
You know, we were thinking future. We were thinking, where do we want to be in a few years?
We also knew we did want to start having children, and it was like we knew at that position. I'm like, dude, we can't have a kid right now. We won't have a minute for him. We wouldn't be able to be the present parents. You know, it's like.
One of the best decisions we ever made was waiting until our 30s to have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that this is for everyone. I'm saying for us. Or I'm saying maybe if you're listening and you haven't had kids yet and you're still debating on if it's time for you. I don't think there's ever a perfect time. We really weren't planning it and it happened. But I think we knew it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But had we started having babies while we were trying to figure out rent, I can't imagine. That would have been really stressful.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, woo, there's nothing wrong with having babies in your mid-30s,
yes.
okay?
Yeah.
So we took our time to figure out our life and make a lot of mistakes. But
and I think the one thing I wanted to say, like kind of getting back to how you jumped in with direct sales and stuff too, is like so many people are so just closed-minded to opportunity. Like they're so one-track minded of like, this is how I'm going to get where I'm going, that like, and it not just speaking direct sales, there's opportunities everywhere, but people constantly deflect or block them or whatever because they're just like, they don't want to pay any mind to them. But it's like, be open-minded, like listen to people, make connections with people, see what they're doing, build your network. And it's like, you have no idea what one person could do to like change your life.
It's changed my entire life.
Yes.
One person sent me a message on Instagram.
Yes.
Sent me samples of this product line that I was like, I'm not using that. They sat on my kitchen table for weeks. Okay. But then I sat back and I just ate a little piece of humble pie. And I was like, but wait, am I living the life I actually want to live? Because I was watching her and she was traveling to go to Europe for the summer. Yeah. And I was like, that would be really nice. I would love to just board a plane with my husband and go to Europe. That would be really nice. They were like in all the most, I was like, I need to get with it right now because obviously my ego is stopping me.
Sure.
And I had that humble pie moment, that like humility of, I'm not going to allow my ego to affect my future.
Yes.
And how many people allow their egos to affect their future, their children's future? Dude. I'm so glad that I had that moment of being open-minded, of being like, maybe the thing I've been praying for just looks very different than I imagined.
That's so...
And it ended up being like truly the best career decision I've ever made.
Yeah. And also it's like, you don't have to be so completely defined by your work. I mean, it is, yes, but like at the same time, it's like you can use opportunities and different businesses to get you where you want to be in the long term. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're doing that, that's all you do, that's who you are. It's like, no, this is getting me to where I want to go over here.
Yes, that's
like,
so good.
You know what I mean? Like you can, and that's how you diversify. It's like you jumping from one lily pad to the next and you just keep creating more opportunities.
And along the way, the thing that I have realized is that the people and the skill sets that I have learned, people that I've met, the skill sets that I've learned along the way in the last 5.5 years have been so life-defining for me. Because I said yes to this thing, I started selling shampoo from the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a beauty like guru whatsoever like before this, but I just put myself out there. I tried it and I was like willing to be just so messy and so beginner.
Yeah.
I've met people who introduced us to the idea of having our own Airbnbs.
Yep.
We've met people who have introduced us to the idea. I mean, so many things in our life have expanded because we put ourselves out there. So to go back to your point of, people are going to have their assumptions about everything. So we are recently getting into building our Airbnb portfolio.
Yeah.
We actually bought some land. We're making some moves. We'll let you guys know soon what is happening. We'll do a whole nother breakdown. And it's really cool because this business that I started from my phone 5.5 years ago turned into multi-millions in commissions since then, just literally grinding it out and being super consistent. And now that business is now fueling our next business. Yep. And it's funny because recently we've had people send us messages or tell us like, oh, the Airbnb industry, it's not reliable. Yep. It's going down. And there's always going to be those haters. It's like, oh, you're selling shampoo. Oh, you're doing Airbnb. It's like they're always going to have something to say. Well, and I'm like, but it's funny because we're so used to that. And we're so used to the people who have the negative and whatever. We're just like, thanks. Cool. Love your opinion. But we're pursuing this because the truth is that there is so much opportunity in that field of what we're looking at. But had we not, like we were saying, lily pad thing, had we not said yes to this, it wouldn't have turned into this. It wouldn't have turned into now this. And it's like, even just us being here on the show. Yes. Had we not said yes to all this, we'd have nothing to talk about. I know. we would be sitting here being like, well, we've lived a lot of life.
What'd you eat last night?
Right? Like we would have nothing to talk about if we didn't. This show wouldn't be happening if we didn't mess up and make all those mistakes or try all those things and start the businesses and learn and fail and succeed and all the things.
Yes. And that's even just pointing to the show. It's like the whole point of the show is to, like, I think I said this in an earlier episode, but it's like the whole point is to share our story. So if there's someone out there who feels somewhat similar or has that feeling in their gut that there's more for some, it's like, pass it on to other people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, show them the trails that you blaze so they can do it too. It's like, that's how you make the world better. That's how you make people better. It's like, that's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's so true.
It's just like, don't keep it all for yourself. Like, share your journey. Like, there's other people who are like, just like we went through feeding our dog spaghetti squash, there's someone out there doing that right now.
Listening.
So like,
this is for you.
Yeah. It's like, there's people who want more, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting more. There's nothing wrong with wanting a better life for your family and your future generation and family tree. You know, it's like, that's what we're after.
Well, I will say this to kind of close it out is it takes one person.
Exactly.
It takes one person in your family to break generational, I don't necessarily want to say
habits,
curses.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a curse. Sometimes. But it's either it's that one person to break a generational curse or break a generational pattern.
Yeah.
And maybe you come from a family where everyone's been a teacher and that's what they do.
Yeah.
Or everyone's been in finance or everyone's been in the medical world or everyone's just gotten a traditional 9-to-5 job and you're listening and you're like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's okay to not want that. It's okay to want something else.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this in our walk the other day of our son is going to live such a different life.
Yeah.
It's going to make me cry. He's going to live such a different life than we did. Not that we didn't have something good.
No, we great lives, great childhoods,
Our parents
everything.
are amazing
Yes.
and raised us so well and we love them and we literally can't wait to retire them.
Yeah,
if you're listening.
Yeah.
So we had a great upbringing with what we had.
Yeah.
But our child is going to live such a different life.
Yeah.
A good life. He already is.
Yeah.
With opportunity, and he's going to have like a whole school of experience just from being our kid before he ever graduates college. I hope he doesn't really want to go to college, but we'll see. Just saying. But because we've made all these mistakes and because we've tried all the things and because we've launched the businesses, like we literally changed that for our future
100%
kids.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you are wanting to take your first step towards starting the business or just getting your life to the next level, I will personally say in my experience, and I can't wait to hear what you say, but I would say the first thing is really you need to create mental toughness.
Oh, yeah.
I learned a lot from books.
Yep.
That's personally a way that I've learned. Maybe for you it's podcasts. Maybe it's a different way. For me, I learned from books. And I can say that some of my greatest mentors in my life have been from the books that I've read.
Yeah.
And the people giving me their best tips and their advice in the books. I mean, Think and Grow Rich changed my entire life because I grew up very much from a small town. I didn't know any millionaires. Even though I bought that millionaire mug when I was in college, I didn't really grow up around millionaires. I grew up around
the wealthiest people were like doctors and lawyers.
Exactly.
It was like you were making it if you were the doctor.
You were like,
and
whoa.
it was like, yeah.
You went to school that long.
Yeah.
Like it was such a huge deal. So I learned so much around mindset and mental toughness and persistence and determination. And I was able to fuel my ambition through those books.
Yeah.
And really, the thing is, there's always a catch-22 around reading and personal development. It's like, are you actually doing it?
Yeah.
And I will say that I was so determined. I'm the girl who I read a book and I highlight every sentence because I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah.
I got to do this. That for me, I can say is the biggest thing that changed my life.
Yeah.
Was changing my mindset. I changed my mindset before I changed my life.
Yeah.
Because I had to see it in my mind first. I had to believe it in my mind first. I had to change my limiting beliefs first in my mind before it actually manifested in the physical and in our reality. But that changed everything for me.
Yeah. And that's such a good point. And I think kind of to go with that, like I'm going to speak more to our journey and the people we've dealt with the most. And that's usually people who are married. Usually people who are married and they're looking to change their life. They're looking to go a different direction or a new passion comes up or whatever they're after. It's like, I would say the number one thing with starting your journey, especially if you're married or just dating, like your spouse, your partner matters so much in this. It's like,
That's
you see, like, it's much easier for a single person to jump into something new and go crush it because they can devote all their time and energy to it. And that's like, it's their thing, you know? But for me, it was like, we've always been together. So like, we've always had to go over these hurdles together of like, we have to get extremely vulnerable with each other. Like if times are tough, like it's me and you in the same boat. We got to figure it out. And it's like, we had to have some very tough conversations where it's like, you need to be able to go to your spouse and have support. And we've talked to so many people who like, one, they don't really communicate with their spouse, what they want to do. So it's like, to sum that up, it's like the simplest thing you can do if you're looking to start a business or whatever it is. Maybe it's a podcast. I have no idea. It's like, sit down and have a very, very real conversation with your spouse about what you want out of life, where you want to go. That is where you have to start. Because if you go down a journey and the minute it gets tough and you don't have support from your spouse, it's probably not going to work. Yeah. It's just, I mean, I know, I look at our journey. If I would have like been very hard on you about anything, one, you probably would have left me.
Bye.
and rightfully so, because that's what you almost have to get to that point where it's like, or it's like, you know, I knew by supporting you, it's like I was going to help you achieve that even quicker and if achieve it at all. It's like, so true. So I think to sum it up, you got to be on the same page with your immediate family and especially your spouse. It's like, you guys have to be on the same page because there's going to be sleepless nights. There's going to be sacrifices. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be emotional days. Like that's my biggest point.
And I think that's what we did. I remember when I started my business, well, every single business that I've started, I would sit down with you and I would say, okay, here's what I think I'd want to do. Yeah. Here's where I think I want to take this. Here's what the goal is. And like, what do you think? Yeah. Do you support me in this? And we had I can't even count how many conversations we've had where I was basically asking you for support, basically giving you a business proposal and say, here's where I'm going. Yeah. I need you to have my back. Yeah. And you did. And you're right. I mean, who you marry and who you choose to align yourself with,
it's the biggest decision of your whole life.
Biggest decision of your whole life. And I can say without a doubt that one of the biggest reasons that I'm here today is because you supported me. Yeah. And then you always had my back.
Always will. I mean,
I'm going to cry again. No. Ever since I had a baby, I cry all the time now.
Yeah. Well, it's like just emotional people now. No. Yeah. So that's, to sum it all up, that's my piece of advice. And
work your mindset. Read some books. Yeah. We can do a whole nother episode at some point. I know we have one in the works around our top books that have changed our personal life. We'll cover that. Come over to Instagram and let us know if there's a book that you read that completely changed your life. We're always up for your recommendations. And I think the last thing to sum it up is the sacrifice piece you mentioned. We sacrificed a lot. Yeah. We sacrificed so much. We sacrificed most of our 20s. Yep. And I laugh about that sometimes. I'm like,
holidays.
Oh, our 20s were just literally a complete shit show. Yes. Because we sacrificed holidays. We sacrificed time together. We sacrificed having a comfortable life and what most people in our 20s had so that we could build for our future. But now we're almost 34 and multiple businesses. Yeah. And we have our dream life. And, you know, Kyle just met with our accountant the other day and walked him through. He's like, okay, we're upgrading you guys to be premium clients.
We want to.
You want to know something? There was a time in my life where my credit score was 400. Okay? 400. So listen here. You listen to me. Dude. I'm almost at 800. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, almost.
I'm almost there. Can you believe that? What a journey.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not me. Who would have thought? Not me. So the sacrifices we made, dude, they were hard. They were so hard some days. Yeah. But if you've got the mental toughness and if you got just one person, maybe you don't have a spouse, but maybe it's one person that you can talk to, you can support each other. Yeah. It makes the world of difference.
Yes. Agreed.
Thanks so much for listening to the Trust Issues podcast. We would love to hear your journey, your dreams. Come over to IG, comment on one of our recent posts at Trust Issues Podcast and tell us more to join the conversation. We'll see you guys next time.